Disclaimer, this video is going to be sensitive, okay? Okay, Usa. Hi guys, how are we? I hope we're okay. This video is going to be a very sensitive, but I'm already crying. It's okay. Okay. As you can tell, this video is going to be a very sensitive video. So, I am currently on a 3-day fast where I am committing myself to only eating fruits for 3 days and a little bit of chia seed pudding. I love my chia seed pudding. Like, at least it's very healthy for you. I love chia seed pudding, guys. Like, I'm just so obsessed with it. So yeah. And I haven't committed to a fast in over 2 years. Whenever I commit myself to fasting, I always go through some sort of purging, some sort of emotional purging of some sort. Like I remember one time when I fasted with my friend, and we was in her apartment, in her bedroom, and we was praying. And when we was praying, I just started like, it's like I started to have like a seizure, but it wasn't a seizure. It's like I literally just started shaking out of nowhere. It's like my whole body went numb, and when it went numb, I could not stop like shaking. And nobody knew what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. She didn't know what was going on. And I just started crying and crying and crying and crying. And like we had another friend that was on the phone. They tried to figure it out. She was so scared, guys. She was so scared. And I'm just over here going through it, okay? I cannot tell you to this day what that was. I'm not sure if it was a spiritual awakening. I'm not sure it was me fighting off some sort of, I don't know, spirit, demon. I don't know what was going on. All I know is I couldn't stop shaking, and I couldn't stop crying. And I had calmed down at one point, and I literally told her right before it started, I said, I'm gonna cry again. And I just started crying and crying and crying. And it was so crazy. I still remember that to this day. But what I can tell you about that fast is I ended up going to South Carolina for the summer and ended up having one of the best summers of my whole life. That I can say. So one thing about the fasting for sure, that it always brings forth some sort of like something that is very needed in my life, and I really, really needed that. Say all this to say that day 2 of my fast, and I was just in my room watching Survivor. Watching Survivor, eating my chia seed pudding with my fruit, and I just start crying. What is up with me crying in the midst of me watching TV shows? Like, I'm not understanding. It's like whenever I decide to watch a TV show, here comes the waterfalls, and I don't know why. So I'm just sitting there watching Survivor or whatever, right? And as I'm watching Survivor, I'm just crying, and I just started to have all these feels, and I just started to speak, and just really say how I felt. And in that moment, honestly, guys, it felt like, I don't know, I felt like, honestly, that God has forgotten about me. That's how I felt. Not only that, here comes the tears again. Felt like everything that I have experienced or went through was in vain. I felt like, what? I'm such a mess. It felt like everything that I have experienced in 2023 And even before 2023, ever since I got in college, okay? Even before college, but it really started to happen once I got in college. It's like I went through so much, and it just felt like it just all meant nothing. You know how when you go through a lot of things, and you go through the rain so much, and there's supposed to be a big rainbow waiting for you on the other side. And I feel like basically I'm in that space, like just asking God, where is my rainbow? Like I have been through so much in this past decade, and I just feel like there's no rainbow for me, It's crazy because my little scarf kind of looks like a rainbow. But that's how I feel. I feel like in the sense like God has forgotten about me, and like I'm not going to reap any of like the stuff that I've been through. And so one thing I realized in the midst of me crying, watching Survivor and eating my chia seed pudding, I love chia seed pudding. I love me some chia seed pudding. I eat that stuff every day. I can eat it every day if I could, but I heard it's pretty bad for you to do that, but I do it anyway. So my mentor recently, she told me that my success is in the story that I do not want to tell. And what's so crazy about her saying that, guys, because she had no idea what it meant for me, but I knew what it meant for me. And I've been holding back on my channel per se from like expressing my struggles and the things that I go through on a daily basis, because I feel like nobody really want to hear about it until you are successful. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to hear about your struggles and what you go through until you reach the top, and that's when everybody care. At least that's how I felt in my mentality and my mind. And what I had to realize with that was I was operating out of my ego per se. Like I wasn't coming from a place of that's how I truly genuinely felt, but more so it was my ego telling me, was basically convincing me to believe that, to protect myself from having to express and tell, my struggles. I realized that, I told God that I am a vessel for God, and that I want to be obedient to God as much as possible with my relationship, you know what I'm saying, with God. And so I realized that with the things that I have been through and going through, that it's not just me. It's so crazy because this morning I kept hearing myself saying, like as if I was giving a reading to somebody, and I kept hearing like, you will be surprised of how many people have experienced what you have experienced. And I kept hearing it, but I'm seeing it in a sense like I'm giving someone a reading. The whole time I'm actually speaking to myself. It's like God speaking to me and telling me that. And I know I'm not isolated when it comes to my story. I know so many people can relate to it in their own sense, in their own way. I've just been convincing myself for the longest that nobody cares though. Like, who's going to care to hear what I have to say when it comes to my struggles? Like, we already have so much issues in the world, and I try my best every day to show up in light. I want to be a light to this universe, and I want to be able to basically give that, because there's just so much darkness as it is. So I'm like, ain't no point in that, you know what I'm saying? Because we need more light. But what I had to realize is that in the midst of me expressing my light, I also want to be authentic, and I also want to be vulnerable. I realized that I have been hiding this part of myself from my channel. And when I made the intention, when I made my channel, I had the intention that I wanted to show up authentically me, and I wanted to show the vulnerable sides. I wanted to show the dark sides. Like, as much as I am light is just as much as I am dark. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to excuse that part of me, because I love my dark side. Like, that explains why I'm so obsessed with The Weeknd, because he's just such a perfect example of my shadow. You know what I'm saying? It don't have nothing to do with his looks. It don't have nothing to do with his music. What it really is that I truly see myself inside of him. And so I realized that when I made my channel and I had the intention of showing all sides of me, you know, that comes with responsibility. And I want to make sure that I hold myself responsible for doing that, because I feel like there's already so much fake in the world. There's already so much, you know, plastic, you know, people only showing the surface, not really showing the deep parts of them. And I love deep, you know what? I love deepness. Another reason why I love The Weeknd. You know, I just gotta bring him into it, because yeah, I love that man. But I want to be able to show that it's not always light. There is darkness, and we know that as humans. But not only that, I want to be able to showcase that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to be able to be vulnerable, you know, however that looks for you. Like, I feel like I had this sense of embarrassment and to be vulnerable. Maybe because I don't see it much, maybe because it's not really known to be vulnerable. And I'm like, no, like you are a vessel of God, and so you need to use what you have experienced to show people that it's not always light. My light comes from me being so much in the dark. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to be obedient to God and also be authentic to myself, and also show you guys that it's so much more than, you know, sunshines and rainbows over here, okay? I go through some real life stuff to be 23 years old, okay? Let me just say that. When I tell you I go through some stuff, I go through some stuff that my family don't even know about, some stuff that I've only experienced, that I only know about. You know what I'm saying? Every person that I meet, every friend that I have, I feel like I'm always the one who gets always like the worst parts, you know, of the story, the worst of the worst, you know, the short end of the stick. And I'm tired of being in that space. I want to basically be able to find those individuals who have experienced just as much darkness as I have experienced in my life, because I have experienced a lot of dark things, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm just going to share my stories. I want to share my story of when I was hit by a car. I was hit by a car on 9/11 on 2022 by a red Dodge SUV while I was on my bicycle on the way to Starbucks. I remember it clearly, you know. I woke up, I left the apartment, and I said, I'm gonna go to Starbucks, and I'm gonna go to Starbucks, and I'm gonna not study because I didn't have work. And I'm gonna sit, and I'm gonna either, I was planning on strategizing, I was finna do something like that. And I get on my bike, and if you know me personally, my bike was my baby. Like, if I were to have an actual child, I think that bike would be the closest thing to how a child would feel for me. Because we have went through so much together. I had got her when I went to South Carolina, when I needed that break for sure. And she was just like this huge blessing that I just needed in my life, that I had no idea that I needed. And I know a lot of parents say that about their child. So, and she was my child. She literally saved me from so much, guys. Like, oh my goodness, when I talk to people about my bike, no one can relate because they're like, it's just a bike. But for me, she was so much more than just a bike. She had a personality, she had a style to her, she was very unique. Like, it was just so many things about that bike that I feel like that's just saved me in a lot of ways. I was on my bike and we was on our way to Starbucks. You know, she was good. She had her little attitude or whatever, but she was Gucci. And then next thing I know, I am riding, which I was in a right of way because I was on a sidewalk and I was passing and the car was at a stop sign and I'm passing the car and it's like she's steadily pulling out as I'm going. Mind you, my bike is very fast. So in my mind, I'm expecting her to see me because it's not like she's just going, she's at a stop sign. And when you at a stop sign, you know to look left and to look right. But this lady, I guess she was not looking right. She was only looking left and seeing the cars, seeing whether or not the cars was coming. And as she's pulling out, by the time I realized that she was not looking my way and that she's not seeing me, it was too late. And next thing I know, she's pulling out and my bike, they connected, okay? They connected and I was on the bike and next thing I know, I can't even remember me really getting hit by the car because when I open my eyes again, I'm on the ground. And when I'm on the ground, I'm crazy because the only thing I am thinking about is my bike. The only thing I am thinking about is my bike. Is my bike okay? I'm not stunned me because I know no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. One thing I know about me, no matter what I go through, I am protected. So that don't even be crossing my mind because I know that I'm going to be good. But I was just really, how is my bike? And when I tell you guys that bike saved me, that bike saved me. She took the hit mostly when I was on the ground. The only thing that was injured in terms of me was my foot. My foot on my right foot, my left knee was scraped. And I had like scrapes on my leg or something like that. And yeah, and so I'm on the ground. And when I'm on the ground, guys, when I tell you when I got hit by that SUV, I died. Like, I actually died. I didn't die physically, obviously, but I died spiritually. I died mentally, I died emotionally, I died in any other realm that you could possibly think of. I have never felt so vulnerable in my entire 23 years. I was 22 at the time. Never felt so vulnerable in my entire 22 years of living than when I got hit by that SUV. Can you just imagine being in the middle of the road? Like, and mind you, it's intersection, so it's hella cars, hella people riding past, and I'm on the ground, so vulnerable. You know, people, you know, they witnessed it, they saw the whole thing, walked up to me, they're all looking at me, somebody's calling 911, ambulance popped up, and I'm just on the ground. The sun is beaming, it was so hot. When I tell y'all, like, I just felt so vulnerable. Like, I was just completely out of control. It was like the ultimate state of surrender where you had no control. There was no ego at play here, okay? You had no choice but to sit your behind down and let the universe take care of you, you know? And I'm on the road, and you know how the road feels, it's very rough. So I'm on the road, and I just hear these people asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And then I look to the right, and I see my bike, and they took my bike, and then they put her against a tree. And I just look at her and I just started crying because I'm like, my bike. I'm not even stunned, guys. That's the thing. It just really hurt me when I saw my bike the way that she was. And you could obviously see that she saved me. And then I could feel her energy. Like, it's okay, you know, know you're going to be okay. And I'm like, no, mamas, you're not going to be okay. I'm telling you guys, that bike had life to her. She really did. And it definitely could have just been my own energy. And it was. She was a representation of me, just as a bike. But I was just so concerned with my bike because I knew that I was going to be okay. And you can obviously tell she took most of the hit for me. She was the one to truly get hit by the car. I just had to deal with the after effects of when I fell and stuff. And everybody just asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like, yes, I'm okay. And then next thing you know, somebody brought me a cup of water, and I drank a cup of water, and then somebody took off their shirt, and then they put it on the ground for me, for I could be able to rest on, because what the road is already crunchy and it's rough, and then you got the sun beaming on the road, so it's hot too. And so somebody took off their shirt. I remember they had a white shirt, and they took off their shirt and they put it on the ground, and I was able to rest on the shirt. And we just waited till the ambulance got there, and the ambulance finally arrived. And I remember the paramedics, one of them, when they came up to me, he had a snake. He had a snake on one of his arms. I think it was his left arm. And immediately when I saw the snake, I'm like, yeah, the spirits are with me. Double I, particularly Double I, was with me. My ancestors was with me. He's also my ancestor. So I knew I was going to be good. And then, they was taking the information. They were asking me if I needed to go to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. All that extra stuff. And so by the time I got up, I was limping and everything. I still got the scar on my right foot. And then, they took the lady information. They did all that. And there was this man, guys. He was in a wheelchair. He got one leg that's fully formed, and then the other leg, half of it was cut off, right? So the other leg is halfway cut off. And as I'm sitting there, as the paramedics is taking my information, the police officers, they asking me questions. I was on the grass, and there was ants, and ants started to attack me and stuff like that. And I'm like, these ants messing with me. And so that man literally, that man that was in a wheelchair that had only 1.5 amount of legs attached to him got out of his wheelchair. Freak! Okay, I need to get it together. This is me being vulnerable, guys. I'm such a crybaby, okay? I am a Cancer at heart. Such a crybaby. So that man got out of his wheelchair. He sat on the grass, and he told me to sit down in the wheelchair. And I'm like, sir, although I got hit by a car, I'm still able to stand. I'm still able to walk. And that man said, no, sit in the chair. And I sat in that chair, guys. And when I sat in that chair, I just took a minute to just breathe in the environment around me. And somebody gave me water. They were just giving me water. And somebody constantly asked me if I'm okay. Then this man got out his wheelchair and let me sit in the wheelchair. Mind you, guys, it is hot. It was so hot. He is sweating his behind off. And it's just everybody was just taking care of me and making sure I'm okay. When all I'm thinking about is the bike, okay? I'm just worried about my bike, and everybody worried about me. And I'm like, it just felt like the universe was truly taking care of me. God was with me every step of the way. It's as if they knew that it was going to happen. They knew it was coming, and they're like, we're prepared, we got you. And they had me. My spiritual team had me, my ancestors had me, God had me in that moment. And I was just so shocked just by how much humility there was in that situation. It was just so much humility, and it was a true experience of being humble, to the point where you had no choice but to surrender. And that was the state that I was in. I had no choice but to surrender. I had no control over anything. And I feel like that is the true, that is the true essence of God, just when you're in this complete state of surrender. And when I experienced that, I literally died in that moment. My ego died. My flesh obviously didn't die, but it died. My mentality died. The way I was thinking, the way I was moving, the way I was feeling, all of it all just died with that car. And the fact that I got hit on 9/11 by a red Dodge, which is, a Dodge is like a ram, right? It has a ram on it, or something like that. And it just seemed like as if I got hit by a bull. That's how it felt. Like it was a bull, you know what I'm saying? And it just showed up in a red Dodge. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just so grateful. I am so grateful that I did not have to experience that alone, that I had so much support around me. I had so much help around me. It was traumatic, but it was also very beautiful, if that makes sense. It was definitely a traumatic yet beautiful experience. And that experience changed me forever. It really changed me forever, because literally, guys, 2 days after that happened, I went and got my septum period, piercing, my nose piercing, this one. And then that same day, I dyed my hair red. My hair was red at the time. If you watch my earliest videos, you'll see when I was going to Colombia, I had dyed my hair red. So that same day, I had dyed my hair red. And then that same week, I think I had booked my tickets to Colombia, which I had no idea that I was going to go to. It was like an epiphany that had hit me. So once I had dyed my hair, and once I was doing my hair, after I had dyed it, that's when I just got an epiphany to go to Colombia. And then 2 weeks after that, that's when I went to Colombia. And in that same week, 4 days after I got hit by a car, that's when I had got my tattoo. My Eye of Ra tattoo, in an unk. It's an unk inside of it. It's like I transformed into this new being. The fact that I had got a new nose piercing, a new tattoo, my first tattoo, booked my tickets to go out the country for the first time by myself, dyed my hair red, never had my hair red before. It was I took that car accident and it fueled me. It's like this passion that just burst outside of me, and I became this new person, this new being. It's like my confidence had grew. It was just so much I don't know, energy, but I channeled it in such a positive way. And that's my thing. It's like when I go through traumatic experiences like that, instead of me being down and out about it, it's like I take it and I use it to fuel me. It's like I'm honestly so grateful for that experience, as much as traumatic it was, and I'm still traumatized by it. I still cannot walk in front of a car completely confident that it's not going to hit me. I'm still so traumatized. And it's hard. It's still very hard. When you face a traumatic experience, you have to find the best way possible to channel that pain, to channel that anger, to channel that sadness, whatever it is that you feel due to that experience, and you have to birth it. You have to make it into something, whether that's a new project, whether that's a new, like for me, it was a new hairstyle, a new tattoo, it was a new piercing, it was all that, a new trip out the country, whatever that means to you. I feel like I had to come and share this story because I know there are some of you that have experienced something similar. If it wasn't you getting hit by a car, maybe the effects were the same, where you felt like you was completely in a vulnerable state, where you had no choice but to surrender, where you felt like you were so naked, you were so seen, and it just didn't feel good because it was so uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to know that that wasn't for no reason. You know, your pain is for no reason. No pain, no gain, right? Some of us feel like we still haven't received our rainbow. At least for me, I feel like God still have not given me my rainbow that I feel like I'm so deserving of. You know what I'm saying? And I also just want to make this video to also make you guys feel comfortable with sharing your stories. Like, get out there, be vulnerable, don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? People need to hear you. People need to hear your voice. People need to hear what you have been through. It's not that no one cares. It's just the right ones are going to listen. Somebody is going to hear you, and somebody is going to relate to you. Because let's be honest, we all want someone to relate to, and we all want someone to relate to us. Me, yes, I do. I want to find those people that were also hit by a car. I want to find those people that have felt, you know, that have been through traumatic events the way that I have. Obviously, with all the crying and purging, you know, that was such a traumatic experience for me, and I feel like that's just another thing. When you feel like you go through a situation and you just by yourself, you feel alone, you feel isolated, like you're the only one that understands you. Nobody else, your friends can't relate, your family can't relate, nobody can relate, you know. And I feel like this is why I'm making this video. I really want to find those people who can relate to similar experiences that I've been through. And like, what was the most traumatic thing for me wasn't exactly the car hit itself, but it was more so me losing my bike. Guys, my bike was literally my child. Like, she was literally my child. Her name was Foxy, Fox for short. I had her for about a year or some change at that point, and we were still going strong. You know what I'm saying? We were still going strong, and next thing you know, she's gone, poof, just like that. But that's okay. And I had 2 more bikes after her, and they just didn't compare. Like, they just did not compare. It was something about that bike in particular that was very special. And I went to Walmart, and there's so many of her now. Like, everybody have her all of a sudden. It's like I can't stop seeing her, you know, her people, her family, you know. But even if with me having the opportunity to buy another bike that's just like her, the same model and everything, it would never equate to the exact bike that I had. If you get it, you get it. Like, again, she was much more than just a bike. So I guess this is the start of me being vulnerable on my channel. Because I feel like I try so hard to just show my light and not enough who I really am, which I am so much more than just my light. Like, I'm dark. I'm very dark. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. 100% I'm a mess. And that's okay. You know, I'm a lot of things. I'm not just the sun. I'm a lot of things. I can be hot, I can be cold, I can be up, then I can be down. I'm a roller coaster. There we go. I am a roller coaster. And so I am basically putting myself out there, allowing myself to be vulnerable to find other roller coasters. I just want to say thank you guys for being here. Thank you for allowing me to heal. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for allowing me to purge. Especially if you have watched the whole thing. If you feel comfortable with sharing your story, if you feel comfortable with sharing your struggles, I am open. I am so open to talk. Like, I keep telling y'all this, but it's like nobody hearing me. Like, I really do want to find other people that have gone through such traumatic experiences like mine. And this is only one of many. Trust. Hopefully this is the end of me crying about that experience. And yeah, I just want to say thank you. And I want to shout out God, Source, Universe, for just allowing me to be a vessel, to be able to share how I've gone through certain things and how God has pulled me out of it, and not only pulled me out, but has shown me so much favor because of my experiences. Guys, I hope you guys have received this story well, and